Here we go. Option of cameras on, cameras off.
Does it feel?
Oh, yeah, you're not on.
Oh.
Hi, ladies. Bear with me one more moment, please. Perfect. February felt like it wasn't really coming, so I'm happy that we've arrived. The days are getting brighter. We're getting a little bit more sunshine in the morning and in the evenings, and I know in my personal experience, I'm certainly grateful for that. Yes, Laura, no problem. I'll do that. No problem, honey. I'll do that. Be well. Okay. So welcome to this fiery Monday, February 7th, allowing yourself to settle into this space. Option of having your legs lengthened to the bottom corners of your mat. If it suits your body better to have the knees bent, feet on the ground, knees drawing inwards towards one another. Maybe you choose to have the feet together, knees wide, some body form resembling a reclined cobbler's pose. And again, as we say every week, just trying to bring our bodies into that space where you can allow zero effort, zero physical effort. So wiggling into that body space, however that suits for you this evening. Allowing your hands to comfortably rest beside your body. Offering your palms up towards the ceiling, grounding and rooting through the back of your hands. And just for a moment there, feeling the nail beds into your floor. It's really energetically pressing down just for a moment through the upper body. And then exhaling, softening any resistance through the hands or the fingertips. Maybe allowing the head to gently rock side to side, allowing weight to fall even more heavy into the back of your head. Maybe your eyes are closed or you've softened the gaze to a point on your ceiling. Bringing yourself into your opening meditation for your gentle yoga practice this evening. Just noticing here, taking your body into stillness and noticing the rise and the fall of your breath. Observing how that looks in this moment. And then noticing a little bit of a body scan here. Observing areas within your body that perhaps need a little more attention this evening. Maybe any areas that might feel a little tight, maybe a little achy, maybe that's that one area that's always looking for attention. Whatever it is, allowing awareness to simply settle within that space for a moment. Can you imagine the muscles around that space softening and releasing? Almost allowing the weight of gravity to draw down into that space. Bringing warmth, bringing comfort, perhaps even finding a bit of release. And then taking awareness once again back to the breath. Wherever it is that you feel breath moving in and out of your body. And knowing that we can always come back to that space or that sensation in our bodies where we feel breath. And we can use that sensation or that physical area to bring us into the present moment, to anchor us back, so to speak. For some of us, that might be into the belly space. Others feel breath more into the chest, maybe even into the upper back. And some of of you might even be noticing that breath simply as it moves in and out through your nose. Using this space, this awareness, to keep our thoughts present. And that's an ever-challenging thing to do. And some days it's there, some days it's not. But it's simply that working of bringing ourselves back to whatever it is, or wherever it is rather, that we find the anchor, that point of presence. So just hanging out there, noticing breath, wherever that lies, wherever that resonates. And now beginning to mold how that breath is moving for you this evening. So keeping that presence, can you use your next inhale to take the biggest breath that you've taken all day? At the top of that breath, when you feel the urge to exhale, can you imagine a wave like that breath transitioning right into that exhale seamlessly, allowing the full breath to release? And right at that point where you feel the need to draw another inhale, imagine that wave cycling immediately into that inhale, finding that full breath. Taking that breath all the way to the top of the lungs, the collarbone space, and then exhaling it, rolling it right into that exhale. Sometimes helping with that visualization of building that breath, the inhale, low belly, midsection, upper body, wrapping it around, coming down the back of the spine, shoulders soften, mid-back, lower spine. Wrapping forward, take that inhale, build it all the way up the front side of your body. Wrap it around the shoulders. As you exhale, find weight through the back of your body. Release down the spine. So as we transition here seamlessly between your inhale and your exhale, can you notice if the length of the inhalation is similar to or matches the length of your exhalation? Just noticing at first. And then taking that observation to see if we can mold the breath even further. Can we begin to allow this anchor of breath for the inhalation and the exhalation to find the same amount of time? Allow it to take up the same amount of space, the inhale, the exhale. So perhaps counting the inhale, noticing the length, and then attempting to match the length of the exhale. So lots going on. That full belly breath, your seamless transition between inhalation and exhalation, and seeing if we can mold the cadence of the breath. I'm trying not to be too hard on ourselves here. It's just breath. It's going to come either way. But just noticing how when we begin to mold this breath, for some of us that might bring a lot of comfort. For others, it might stir up some more emotions. It might help us find that inner critic that doesn't necessarily need to be here right now. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? It's just breath. There's no right or wrong. So just hanging out here. Another few rounds of our seamless breath, drawing presence, anchoring us, our busy monkey minds, to the present moment. Whatever shape your body is in this moment, if your legs are not lengthened to the bottom corners of your mat, I'll invite you to make your way into that body shape now. Legs lengthened, toes falling outward. If your hands aren't beside your body, we can lengthen them beside the body about 30 or 40 degrees away from our midsection. Palms up towards the ceiling. Take a big inhale through the nose. Feel the low spine lift away from the mat. And as you exhale, draw the navel in towards the spine. Lengthen your tailbone and draw awareness down the back of your legs and into your heels, left and right equally. Noticing the weight of your heels on both sides. Draw awareness with your inhale up the bottom of your feet to the top of the big toes, left and right equally. Observing the temperature on your feet. Perhaps a little cool, maybe a little warm if you've got cozy socks on. And then allow awareness to trickle out from the big toes to the pinky toe edge of your feet. And just settle awareness on the pinky toes, left and right. Noticing temperature. Noticing the space that your body takes up. And then from there, relax any tension in through the feet. Allow the toes to fall wide. And then without thinking too much about it, just begin to take some movement in the lower half of your body. So rolling out the ankles, rocking the feet side to side. Feeling the rise and fall of the calves, maybe even the heels on the back of your mat. Take a big inhale, draw weight in through the shoulders. And as you exhale, 1 foot at a time, take your feet to come and meet the mat, walking your heels comfortably close to your sitting bones. Pressing in through both heels, take a moment to extend and lengthen the low back into the mat, and then allow the feet to draw down to the mat if you've lifted the toes. The invitation to keep the knees above your hips, or allow the knees to fall inwards to rest against one another. Exhaling awareness all the way down and out through your fingertips. Just feeling the thumbs on both hands, left and right equally. Noticing the temperature of the air. And then bringing awareness on each individual fingertip, working your way into your pinky fingers, left and right. Taking a moment here just to observe the space that your body takes, the outermost edges. And then eventually, again, without thinking too much about it, begin to draw movement into the arms, into the fingers, into the wrists. Allowing movement to arrive into your body however it needs to come. So taking whatever movement is going to suit you. And then as you exhale next, we're going to lengthen the arms out, no higher than shoulder height. Palms are going to stay spun up towards the ceiling. Your gaze is still neutral, up, maybe eyes are still closed. Can you extend out equally through all of your fingertips here? Sink weight into the shoulders, maybe even the low spine lifts a little bit away from the mat. Breathing into the front side of the body. And then exhaling, sinking the spine down, softening the jaw, and allowing the head now to begin to rock side to side. So taking this movement very slowly, allowing it to come with ease. Allowing yourself once again to come back into stillness with your gaze up towards the ceiling. Eyes soft or eyes closed. When you inhale next, we're going to draw the arms up as if we're reaching the fingers towards the ceiling until the palms come to touch above the chest. Once your palms come to touch, soften the elbows. Allow the elbows to fall so heavy that the thumbs reach your forehead, trace down the nose, down the lips, and arrive to heart center. And then once they're there, opening up the arms nice and wide once again. Palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale, Peel the arms up away from the mat. Spread the fingers. Press energetically this time in through the hands. Bend the elbows. Allow the thumbs to graze the forehead, nose, lips, heart. And then create some space through the front side of your body, reaching out through the fingers, opposite ends of the room. We'll take that one last time. Inhale, reaching equally through all of your fingers. Exhale, bending the elbows, tracing the midline of your body, and then opening the arms nice and wide, no higher than shoulders. Allow them to rest. As you exhale next, allow your knees to now fall over to the right. Inhaling them through center, taking a bit of dynamic movement here. Exhaling, knees to the left. Inhaling, center. Exhaling, knees to the right. Gaze now over that left shoulder. Take that full twist. Inhaling, coming center. Exhaling, knees to the left. Gaze to the right. Floating with the own rhythm of your breath, that rhythm and length that we've identified during our opening meditation. Just taking a moment to check in, see where you are with that breath. Come back. And then when your knees release to the left next, just allow them to settle. Your gaze can look up towards the ceiling or it can be over the right shoulder. Maybe even walking your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart to create some space through the front of your right hip. The option of taking that left foot onto the right thigh and allowing the weight of that ankle to draw the left or right knee rather down closer to the mat, so long as that right shoulder is heavily supported on the ground. So settle into a point in your reclined twist where you're feeling activity, but where it's not overpowering. Just allowing the weight of gravity to fall through the right side of your body here. If there's any pressure in the knee, you can walk that right ankle closer to the bottom of your mat. You can place a pillow under there, a block. If you have allowed that left foot to come on top of the thigh, gently release it back down to the mat. And then take your next inhale to transition up through midline. And then your exhale to allow the knees to release over to the right. Option of gaze falling over that left shoulder. Maybe taking the stance a little bit wider than you typically would. Maybe even ankles come to about the long edge of your mat distance apart. Feeling generous stretch through the front of that left hip flexor or the front of the hip. Left shoulder drawing down with some weight. And then the same invitation, maybe taking that right foot, allowing it to come and rest onto the outer thigh, and then using a little bit of resistance here to draw the left knee down to the mat. Inviting a deep inhale to arrive through the nose, allow it to cycle around the back of the throat and move right into that exhale. Maybe a weight falls even heavier here. Breathing generously into your left side body. If that right foot has come on top, mindfully replace it back down to the mat. And then when your next inhale arrives, you can use that to transition out of the twist, coming up through center. And then once you come there, you can take the knees in towards your body. Lengthen the tailbone. Squeeze the inner thighs in towards one another as if your legs were seamless, one long leg. Keep that inner thigh engagement. Hands can come behind the thighs, soften the elbows, and begin to take some small circles with the knees. So move as much as you need to here. If it feels nicer to find larger movement with the knees, you can explore that. If it feels better through the low back, just to find some micro movements here, you can explore that as well. Ultimately, squeezing the inner thighs and keeping that inner thigh engagement is what we're looking for here. So it doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to feel good. So find what that looks like. Taking those circles in either direction, keeping it nice and even. And then as you inhale next, coming back through center, find engagement and strength through the core. Exhale, take the soles of the feet down to the mat about hip distance apart. And then inhaling, just taking the gaze to look up to where the wall and ceiling meet, engaging through the core to press the low spine into the mat. Can you imagine the belly is drawing first down towards the mat, and then that the outer edges of your sides are almost wrapping inwards, like you've got a tight corset on and you're really trying to do it up nice and tight. So find that core engagement and just activate there for a moment. This is a lot of work. Exhale, release any of that engagement, and we'll do that a few more times. So when you're ready, we're going to press the low spine into the mat. Navel is going to draw in. And then we're going to think of the sides wrapping in towards the belly button. So engagement through the outer cords, through the obliques, to hold everything nice and strong here. And then exhale, soften that effort. One last time, I'll add on one more part here. So when you're ready, pressing low spine in, navel is drawing in, sides are wrapping around to the front, lift up from the pelvic floor. So everything is engaging, nice and strong here. Try to keep this core engagement. We're going to take the hands down to the mat, press into all 10 fingertips equally, and then lift the hips about an inch or so away from the floor, pressing into the heels. Notice if you've lost that core activation, and if so, exhale, come back down to the mat, reconnect with the core. So moving at your own pace here, since our breath is all going to be moving differently, we'll do this a few times. Finding that core activation, protection through the spine. When you're ready, use the inhale to press through your heels, squeeze through the glutes, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, come into a baby bridge. When you're ready to release your bridge, do so on an exhale. See if you can connect one vertebrae at a time with the ground. The last thing to come to connect with your mat is going to be the tailbone. So one last time, wherever you're at, engaging through the core, pressing through the heels, pressing through the hands, squeeze the glutes, engage through the inner thighs. Maybe you lift a little bit higher this time. Your gaze is still lifting upwards to where the wall and ceiling would meet, lengthening through the back of your neck. Exhaling to release all the way down. And once your spine comes to be supported with the mat, you can draw your knees in towards your chest, hug the arms around to wherever is comfortable, tuck your chin, lift your forehead up towards your knees, and just rock a little bit side to side to find a little bit of a counter stretch here. Find that breath, find that presence. Come back through center. Exhale the soles of the feet down to the mat, hip distance apart. This time, let's inhale the arms overhead. Once they come overhead, soften the elbows. Allow the palms to come to touch. Elbows can be generously bent here. When you inhale next, we're going to trace the midline of the body up towards the ceiling. Reach the fingertips until they want to point between the knees. Exhale. Inhale, sweeping all the way up. Fingers reach towards the ceiling. Thumbs draw to the top of the mat. Elbows are long or elbows are fully bent. Whatever your range is here is perfect. And then using that inhale to transition forward. Pause for the exhale. And then the inhale to transition back. I often find with trying to pair breath work with movement, but the more I think about it, the more confusing it becomes. Your body knows, you know. So just breathe. Every breath is going to activate or move you into movement. Take the rest when you need it with the breath, and then rejoin with the breath. We'll take one more round here, tracing the midsection of the body. The next time your fingers are up above the shoulders, exhale to the arms wide, once again out to a T, shoulder height or lower. reaching energetically out through both hands. Just notice if you're favoring a side here, left or right. And really try to see if we can equally balance the awareness, the weight from left to right. So wiggle into that however that needs to look for you. And then from there, feeling your right foot in your mat. When you're ready, inhaling, draw the knee in towards your body. Take both hands behind the right thigh. Lengthen the right leg up towards the ceiling. Might feel a little tight there in the hamstrings. You can bend the knee if you'd like, or you can have full extension in the leg. Allow that right thigh to fall heavy, and then begin to find movement through your right ankle joint, through the toes. Maybe pointing, flexing the foot. If your eyes aren't closed here, the invitation, if it feels safe to do so, to close your eyes. And just notice how that may have changed the perception of feeling here. Observe any energy that comes up through this right leg. Where does it feel good? Where does it feel sticky? Maybe spinning the thigh in and out. Good. The next time your inhale arrives, you're going to press out through our right heels all together. And then as you exhale, begin to lengthen that right leg all the way down to the bottom of your mat. We're going to allow it to arrive. Heel comes to meet the ground. And then once it's there, you can allow the toes to open wide and our thigh to spin up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, draw that right foot to meet the mat. So coming back into our neutral spine here. Feeling left foot on the mat now, preparing it to move. As you inhale, guide that left leg in towards your body. Your hands can come behind the thigh for support. Lengthen the leg up towards the ceiling. Allow the right thigh to fall heavy, softness through the knee. If you notice if your shoulders have round forward, I just caught mine there. Really draw them into the mat and then away from the ears. And beginning to find whatever movement arrives into this left leg. Maybe bending the knee, lengthening the leg, wiggle the toes, roll out the ankle. And just for a moment, taking observation of left to right. Did one side feel like it came with more ease, let's say, versus the other? We tend to have one good side, one challenging side. We always favor the good side. So just taking this movement however it looks. And then as you inhale next, energy out through that left heel. Control through the core. Begin to lower the leg all the way down to the mat. Slow, slow, slow. Allow that left heel to come and meet the ground. Turn the toes out, inner thigh spins up. Allow the hip to open just for a moment. And then as you inhale, begin to allow that left foot to come to reconnect with the mat. Open the arms wide and just take a moment to rock out side to side. Knees fall left to right. Releasing through the low spine. Wherever your knees arrive next, allow yourself to roll onto that side and then gently guide yourself up into your easy seat. Perfect. You know, sometimes it feels so lonely in here, but then when we sit up, I see there actually are people with me. So I appreciate that. That's good. So sitting up on your easy seat there, rocking on your sitting bones side to side, forward and back, finding that sweet spot of balance. Can you tuck the lower rib cage in towards the hips? Soften your shoulders. Chin level with the ground beneath you. Extend out of the crown of your head. If you have a pillow or a block and it feels nicer to sit up on that, the invitation is there. Allow your gaze to soften in front of your body. Maybe even eyes are fully closed just for a moment. Hands falling wherever they need to. Come come back to that breath that you opened your practice with. Can you continue to be present with wherever it is in your body that you're feeling breath? Now that we're in a seated position, that might look different than when we were on our backs. Can you allow your gaze to gently flutter open? Keep the eyes soft. And then as you inhale, prepare to bring the arms overhead. Spread the fingers, drop the shoulder blades, allow the fingers to touch. Exhale, softness and bend through the elbows as you peel yourself down through heart center. Inhaling, maybe the gaze comes along with the hands this time. Keep the chin gently lifted. Exhale, coming all the way down through center. Take that one last time, pausing at the top of the breath. Interlace the fingers, soften the elbows, and then turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Good. Notice if the lower rib cage has popped forward, tends to do that here. If so, can you draw the ribs in, find that core engagement that we had on our back. So belly draws in, side body wraps around, protect and lengthen. Inhale, can you reach out through the palms of your hands, just an inch more. Exhale, begin to press out through the palms. Take the wrists no lower than shoulder height. Draw the navel in, allow the shoulders to wrap forward. Inhale, slowly take the whole breath to come all the way back up. Whatever that count is, whatever that number is for you. And then as you exhale, pressing forward. Maybe this time your chin tucks towards the collarbone. And then taking the inhale to come all the way back up. You can bend the elbows at any time. We'll take that one last time. Releasing forward. When your wrists come in front of your shoulders, let's take a moment there to pause for a few rounds of breath. So play with the bend in the elbows. If your arms are fully lengthened, you can press energetically, evenly, left and right, out through both palms of your hands. Ultimately, noticing where it is that we feel sensation, where it is that you're feeling this pose, and directing breath into that space. When you inhale next, we're going to use that to lift all the way up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, draw the palms together. Allow the hands to melt down through heart center. Wrap the arms behind the body. Interlace the fingers around the low spine area. And then turn the palms away from your body, so towards the mat. I'll turn sideways here. And then press energetically out through both palms of your hands once again. Squeeze the upper arm bones, tricep, biceps in towards one another, as if they're hugging in towards the mid-spine. Try to keep this activation for one more breath here. Arms are engaged. Beautiful. If you're here and you want to go a little bit more, we're going to begin to lift the hands away from the body. Keep the upper arm squeezing in towards one another. Press the heart forward. Keep your chin level to the ground beneath you and your breath full. Notice what your breath is telling you. This is tricky. It's tricky. So if you're holding your breath, soften the elbows. If your breath is still coming with ease, maybe consider lifting a little further away from the body. So your option is staying right here, squeezing upper arm bones. Or if you want to take a forward fold variation, you can move into that with your next exhale by leading with the heart, coming into whatever your fold needs to look like. Maybe the forehead comes all the way towards the ground. Maybe your chin tucks. Maybe the palms reach up towards the ceiling. Wherever you're at in this, I keep emphasizing that we're squeezing the upper arm bones together, because if we don't, you're going to notice that your shoulders are going to creep up to the earlobes, and then we're finding compression. We don't want that. We want that neck nice and long. We don't want anything pinching, anything pulling. So just be mindful of that in whatever form or shape your body's in right now. When you're ready to inhale next, if you've taken this fold variation, we'll begin to lift out of the crown of the head. And then once you come to that nice long spine, releasing the arms, finding whatever movement you need. So wiggling it out, shoulders side to side, forward and back, maybe rolling out the wrist a little bit, wiggling the fingers. And then coming back to that nice tall spine. Hands can rest on top of the thighs, palms up towards the ceiling just for a moment. And then when you inhale next, we'll bring the arms overhead, reach out of the fingertips. And then exhale, allow that right hand to come down to the mat, tend to the fingers, soften that supporting elbow, then extend out through the left fingertips. Can you draw the left shoulder back? Drop the right shoulder away from your earlobe. Keep that space on the side of our necks equally, left and right. Let's inhale, use that breath to transition up through center. Exhale, allow the left fingers now to come down to the mat. Keep that elbow nice and soft. And then extend and reach out of your right fingertips. Sink some weight into that right sitting bone. Offer that right shoulder back. Drop it away from the earlobes. Just allow the breath to arrive. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, weight through that right side body. And then inhaling, coming all the way up. Palms are going to face one another. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. And then turn your palms forward. Exhale. Release the wrist to come in line with the shoulders. Now think of two counter energies here. We're going to extend out of the fingertips, reaching them forward. Feel activation through the upper back. And then equally, we're going to draw or retract the shoulder blades in towards the spine. So we're reaching through the fingers, but drawing the shoulder blades back and in. We'll try to maintain this activation, just one more breath. And as we exhale, we're going to take the right elbow underneath the left, cross the hands to opposite shoulders. Perhaps hands come to meet, finding full eagle arms. So wherever you are, we're going to lift the elbows. If it feels safe to do so and there's no pressure in the back of the neck, you can allow the chin to tuck towards your collarbone space. And then if it feels good, even the option of drawing the navel in towards the low spine and allowing the upper body to round forward. So a bit of a cat-like spine, if we can think of it that way. Sometimes it feels nice to offer a bit of a rocking motion side to side, or finding a bit of a sway. So the invitation to explore that form of movement if you'd like. Wherever it is that anchors you, whatever it is that keeps you present, and whatever sensation feels like it's nourishing your body is always welcome here. The next time you inhale, we're going to lift the elbows up away from the core, and then exhale, take it all the way out, arms float overhead. Turn your palms forward, release wrist in line with shoulders. So first find that reach out of the fingertips. Then draw the shoulders back in towards the spine. Feel everything become super strong there. Activate through the upper back muscles. Try to maintain this. Core is active as well. Let's take that left elbow underneath the right. And just looking if this looks any different on this side. Maybe hands come to shoulders. Maybe hands come to hands here. This time, let's focus on squeezing everything inwards. So if the elbows are on top of one another, let's activate and press into the elbows equally left to right. If the hands are touching, let's press the hands energetically strong in towards one another. So keep that inward muscular effort. And then on your inhale, let's lift the elbows slightly up towards the ceiling, squeezing inwards. And then as you exhale, that invitation again to draw that cat-like spine by offering the belly button in towards the low spine, allowing the chin to tuck, shoulders wrapping forward, maybe even rocking a bit or finding that sway side to side. I always find shoulder work never looks impressive, but holy smokes, is it not effective? At least that's my experience with it. Subtle movements, subtle energies here, so go kindly. It doesn't have to be large movement to feel the benefit. As you inhale next, let's lengthen out of the crown of the head. And then exhale, release the arms, bring them all the way overhead. Turn the palms forward. Exhale, allow the hands to come and meet the mat. Walk them comfortably away from the body. And allow the elbows to soften, maybe even fully bend to meet the ground. And then your upper body becomes heavy here. Maybe swaying a little bit side to side to feel stretched through the low back space. Wherever you're at, coming back through your neutral alignment, so in through your middle. Wherever your fingertips are touching is fine, even if we're right here. Okay, so we're here. Some of you might be all the way down. We're gonna get the same benefit. So pressing all of your fingertips into the ground here. Think of peeling the hands back towards the spine without actually letting the hands move. And then notice how that's activated in through the back of the arms or in through your triceps. Exhale, release that effort. Soften the upper body. Inhale, find that activation. Press into the fingers, press the heart slightly more forward. And then exhale, let go of that effort. We'll do that one last time in an isometric stretch here. When you're ready, pressing into the fingers. Energy draws towards the upper body. And then exhale, let it all go. Peel your hands in towards your body and make your way onto all fours into your tabletop pose. So our wrists underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Just feel the tops of the big toes into the mat. And then begin to transition between cat and cow. The inhale allows the pelvis to tilt upwards, belly to soften, shoulders to draw back for your cow. The exhale, tucking the tailbone under, drawing the navel in, allowing those shoulders to wrap forward into cat. Inhale, shoulders draw back and in, gaze lifts. Exhale, chin tucks, shoulders wrap around to the front side of your body. So transitioning with the length of the breath. Take the entire length of the inhale to move in, the entire length of your exhale to move into cat. And you become hyper aware here of the shoulder space. Can you notice the space that we create from the earlobes to the top of the shoulders? Can you observe the effect of them wrapping forward, separating away from the spine? We'll take a few more transitions here of exploring cat and cow. The invitation to move into some free movement. Maybe the hips wiggle a bit side to side. Maybe you take your gaze to look over the opposite hips. From here, we'll prepare to transition into our child's pose. So whenever you're ready, you can take the knees generously wide, maybe as wide as that long edge of your mat. You can tuck the toes. Use the hands to guide the tailbone towards your heels. And then soften the elbows. find a point, if it's available, where your forehead can rest on something. So for some of you, I know it's going to be on the mat. For some, it might be a block or a pillow. If that's not available, you can take 2 fists, stack them on one another, and see if we can bring the floor up to the forehead. And if none of that is happening in this moment, that's okay. It's something to work towards. If your forehead is resting on something, can you use that imagery of weight falling heavy through the middle of your forehead? And then can you sink a little bit deeper? Can you visualize that breath traveling up from the low belly space all the way up to the top of the collarbone space? And then as you exhale, can that breath wrap around the back of your body and energetically draw down the shoulders, all the way down out through the low spine, perhaps even sinking weight more so into that space. And then taking that a few more cycles of breath. Inhale, awareness up, low belly, all the way up through the chest. Exhale, wrap it around the shoulders. Energy draws away from the body and into the tailbone. And see with this breath, as we cycle through awareness, if sensation of your child's pose changes. Maybe your body begins to release a little bit. Maybe you find weight creating access and space within your body. Maybe you're like, Candace, none of this feels good. When is it done? One more breath, I promise. The next time you take that inhale up through the belly, feel the fingers. Take that awareness to the fingertips, and then inhale, come all the way up, tuck the toes, press through the toes to once again invite the knees to come underneath the hips, and then untuck the toes. Our wrists should be underneath our shoulders at this point. And then from here, let's extend the right fingers forward and then spin your palm to face the midline of your body. Can you draw that right shoulder blade back so that there's space created away from the ear? And then from there, let's lengthen the left toes to the bottom of your mat. Press with some weight in through the toes and energetically press out through the heel until that point where you feel the calf stretch and the hamstring stretch. So the whole backside of your leg. You can soften the knee if that suits better. So reaching out through those right fingertips, pressing out through your left heel. Let's focus on the core just for a moment. Just like we did when we were on our backs, can you draw the navel in? Can you engage through the outside of the core, so the obliques or side body? And can you find lift and stability from the pelvic floor? So lots of energy here, lots of work happening. If you'd like to go a little further, you can float the left toes away from the mat, so long as the heel comes no higher than in line with the hip. Okay. We'll take one more big breath here, all together. Keep it nice and strong. If the toes are away from the mat, let's connect them once again. And then from there, invite the right hand to come down to meet the mat, left knee to come to the mat. Extend that left hand now to the top of the mat. Palm is going to spin to face midline. See if you can hug the arm beside the ear. Keep the space between the earlobe and the shoulder. As you exhale next, take that right foot, extend it to the back of your mat. Keep the toes on the mat just for a moment. Find the length in the back of your leg. So feel that big stretch. Focus through the core just for a moment. Find that protection for the low back. And if you'd like, float the right toes away from the ground. It's that core stability that's keeping you balanced here. And you've done all the work, right? We've done all the work here. You're ready. If the toes have come away from the mat, let's take a moment to reconnect. Take the left hand, once again, wrist under shoulder. And then take the knees wide, press yourself back into child's pose. Find a form of child's pose here, maybe elbows fully bent or arms wrapping around. Whatever form of child's pose comes with ease is what I'd like you to attempt to move yourself into. And I say that lightheartedly because in my body, child's pose is not a resting pose, although that's what we say it is. So just take a moment to explore that shape. As best as you can, finding that shape that comes with ease. A wonderful opportunity to ground ourselves, to come back to the breath, to come back to the moment. If your hands are wrapped around, I'll ask that you extend them once again to the top of the mat. Inhale to begin to lift yourself up, lift yourself out. Take the thighs in towards one another, come onto either hip, and extend the legs in front of the body, but keep the feet onto the mat. Just the heels at the very least, if possible. You can walk them away if that helps make that achievable. Hips can be on a block or on a pillow. Hands are going to come behind the body, spin the fingers about 30 or 40 degrees away. And then from there, just going to allow the hips to rock side to side. You can take the stance of the feet a little bit wider if that better suits. Pretty much we're just opening and closing the hips here, just like we do on our backs, right? Beautiful. Coming back through center. We're going to walk the hands in towards the body, find the support, and then take the soles of the feet to come to touch. The knees are going to fall wide. And for some of our bodies, when we look down, we might have created a diamond-like shape. For others who have more movement in through the hips, we might have more of a triangle-like shape. Ultimately, let's find the shape where you can begin to release through the inner thighs. As you inhale, we're going to lift out of the crown of our heads. Allow your hands to rest wherever they need to be. Lots of variations. And you can allow your gaze to fixate to a point in front of you with the soft eyes, or maybe allow internal awareness to deepen by closing the eyes. As we hold here in stillness for the next few cycles of breath, can you observe where it is that you're grasping? Is there a space as we hold here to release more deeply into? So thighs are drawing down, core is engaged, your shoulders melt down the spine, and we find the extension out of the crown of our heads. Noticing the rise and fall of your own individual breath. When your next inhale arrives, you can allow your gaze to flutter open if you'd like, or you can keep it shut if you're there. Invite the knees to come in towards one another. Take your hands behind your body and then mindfully make your way back onto your mat. And then once you come all the way down, you can float the knees in towards the upper body. Allow the hands to wrap around for support. Squeeze the inner thighs in towards one another. Just allow the knees to rock left and right. Maybe making those same circles we explored at the start of our practice by taking the knees in either direction, left and right. Preparing to allow the soles of the feet to come and touch the mat, hip distance apart. Allow the knees to fall in towards one another for Shavasana, or lengthen the legs to the bottom corners of your mat. Hands can be beside your body, palms spun upward. If it feels more grounding for you this evening, maybe one hand comes to rest on the low belly, and the other hand comes to rest on the heart. So make your way into a space where you can find release and full support. And at this point, if you haven't done so already, releasing control of breath. Don't worry about counting or pairing, just breathe. And just for a moment, and very, very kindly, can you just notice the breath? Observe your breath. Notice how it arrives, where you feel it, any other sensations that might come up for you that are paired with breath. For the next few moments, all together, we'll take Shavasana, breathing in collective harmony. Have the time and the desire to stay in Shavasana, please feel free to do so. Take whatever it is that you need. Otherwise, you can allow for tiny movements into your hands and into your feet. Just noticing the outermost edges of your bodies here as you draw this movement. Rocking the head side to side. Allowing the knees to bend. Draw in towards the upper body. Preparing to guide yourself onto your favorite side. Just taking a moment there. Eventually, if you'd like, you can guide yourself up into your easy seat. And from there, the invitation to draw the next inhale, arms can float overhead. And exhale. Releasing it all as you bring the hands down through heart center. Namaste, everyone. Thank you all so much. I love our gentle yoga class together. It's my favorite.
Thank you, Candace.